Continue our public hearing on the annexation proposal regarding the properties on Port Street. As in at our last meeting, if you have comments to make, please come forward, give us your name and your mailing address, and welcome any comments.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Wiley, President Ford, and members of the Town Council. I'm Donna Haslinger, 7847 Woodland Circle. I am also president of the Woodland Farms Homeowners Association, and I would like to reiterate some concerns pertaining to Port Street as they were expressed to me. First, I would like to make it clear that we in the surrounding communities are not opposed to the improvement of Port Street, which would be a benefit to Easton's citizens and visitors. We hope our community concerns will not be neglected during development, which can cause discord between developers and their neighbors. We only ask for simple, common sense restrictions on activities. Restrictions on noise and light pollution would allow developers and the surrounding communities to enjoy the area in harmony and maintain the environment. Residents are concerned about the effect noise will have on our neighborhood. Research states that noise pollution decreases home values. One question, why not implement ordinances to protect the property values in close proximity to Port Street? We're asking you to please consider this simple and reasonable request and include these concerns in your planning efforts. Thank you so much for the opportunity to allow us to express our concerns this evening.
I'm Robert Lonergan. I live at 7845 Woodland Circle. From my backyard, I look directly across at Easton Point, right across the water, direct straight shot. Anyway, what we are looking to do with what we would propose you put into the annexation agreement having to do with noise is just preserve the relative tranquility we enjoy in our homes. Our greatest fear is that outdoor amplified music will destroy or diminish the enjoyment of our homes and the property values. As I understand it from what I heard in this room a couple weeks ago, the proposal's proponents have orally stated to town county officials that they do not contemplate outdoor amplification of music. And so that therefore it seems to me, taking them at their word, it would seem unobjectionable to them for sure, since they would be giving up nothing other than what they've already agreed to put wording in the annexation agreement that disallows outdoor amplification of music or otherwise, thus preserving the tranquility that we seek to maintain, and merely reducing to a writing that which the proponents have already, albeit only orally, committed. And I guess we all know, we've all been in enough contracts, whether it's for a house or a car or anything else, to know that a lot is said around the negotiation of a contract, but you know very well that if you want to get what you bargained for, you put it in the contract, you put it in the writing. And so, with a balancing of the equities, our investment, our net worth, and our homes that we have, and the enjoyment we have of them, with inserting some language in the annexation agreement that would say, we heard what you said, developers, you don't want or you're not going to have outdoor amplified music, so we're just putting it in. We think that would make eminent good sense and would cause any of the angst that we feel and the uncertainty and the care that we have right now to disappear. So, thank you very much.
My name is Roger Baldwin. My wife Rosemary is here. We live directly across from the Eastern Point Marina on a point of land in Woodland Farms. I support what my associates have been saying. I only have a few words to add, is that I am very distressed. I'm out here tonight to defend my property because I'm not sure I trust the people that are my leaders, I guess, in the community. Mayor Willie knows me very well. John Ford knows me very well. I think I've been a good citizen in the area, and I have a property over there that I want to protect. Over the years, we've seen some things that were done in Annapolis by Mayor O'Malley. He chased a lot of my good friends out of the state, and quite frankly, I'm seriously thinking of leaving this state too, because I just don't want this noise across the river without some kind of a very fine definition in the ordinance which will prohibit outdoor noise, because it'll come right into my property, and I just don't want that. Thank you very much.
I'm Paul Connolly. I live in 7872 Avon Court in Woodland Farms as well. I wrote you this morning, but I'll save you some reading. A few years ago, we had a surprise party for my wife, and I had a couple of folk singers come and perform for background music for the party. We had about 25 people there, and we all noticed it was really interesting to observe. They kept turning up the volume of their music every time we tried to speak up to be heard over the music. They clearly had this urge to be paid attention to. And if you go to any of the local restaurants, if you go to Foxy's in St. Michael's, if you go to Scooters in Oxford, actually even now at Pier Street, they now have karaoke nights. And my definition of amplified music is live performances. If they want to play their stereo at a reasonable level as background music and face the speakers in towards the people who are sitting there dining, that would be fine. The funny thing is even without any noise at all, just the sound of 70 people eating outside and being served and talking is going to increase the noise, or whatever you want to call it, that we hear in our neighborhood. So that anything that's added on top of that is going to be felt even more. But thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Sam Tripp, Trippe. I live at 700 Port Street. I'm a year citizen of Londonderry, and I'm here representing the Londonderry establishment tonight. I can only endorse what you've heard thus far, and the big concern of all of us is the noise factor. I have had discussions with people who are familiar with the jetty operation that was built up in Kent Narrows, where evidently noise became a real problem, in as much as the jetty is located right next door to a hotel, which interfered with the patron's sleep. I can guarantee you that noise factor is very important to Londonderry residents. All of our residents are well advanced in age, and what they treasure most is a good night's sleep. So if they're not able to achieve that, it will be a constant thorn in your side, I can promise. On the positive side, as I started to say, the builder or the developer evidently got off to a not so good start at the jetty because the hotel complained vehemently of the noise factor. He corrected it. He corrected it by having no music outside of the building. And as a result, the hotel and the jetty are living in harmony. I hope you will regard as our concerns about the noise as being serious. We'd love to see that area developed. I would be very interested in seeing the rest of the Easton Point developed in some manner that would be conducive to would be favorable for all of us, like elimination of the gas or the oil tanks and the gas pumps in the old buildings. Hopefully one of these days that will happen. But meanwhile, we'll worry about the noise factor. And thank you.
My name is Alice Michael Ack. I live at 7837 Woodland Circle. And I'm speaking in agreement with everything that's been said so far. And I just want to add a personal experience. The marina where this restaurant will be developed used to be Meehan's Marina, and they for a while had a cafe where they would serve, and people were sitting outside, and from our patio we could partake in their discussion because the sound across the water is extremely loud. And we're just only asking that you consider that this may not be the gentleman that eventually develops this property, but you can take for what he's saying that he plans to do. But as many of us know, the value of this property is going to increase tremendously once you annex it. That maybe someone else will buy it for a greater price, and you don't have any guarantee of what they're going to do. I know that you want not to preclude music. The overall Easton development plan for Easton Point included eventually having an open-air music venue, and we certainly can understand that, but it would be something, I think, much more appropriate for that area than live music, band, which could be quite disturbing into 10 o'clock at night, which that's what, as the state regulation is now, they can continue to have their live music at the high decibels until 10 o'clock. Maybe the answer is to ask them to, if they're going to have music, to curtail it at 6 o'clock. Something so that it is not going to be a disturbance to our tranquility and our way of life, which we really would like to keep as is. Thank you very much.
My name is Paul Denton. I reside at 7793 Woodland Circle in Easton. That, of course, is Woodland Farms. I support completely everything that's been said, especially Mr. Lonergan's presentation. I think it truly presents what our concern is, our only concern: excessive noise that would disturb the tranquility and peace of our neighborhood. To go on record again, I would like to say myself, my wife, most of the people here that I'm aware of are not opposed to the redevelopment of Easton Point. Quite the contrary. We're in favor of it. We think it'd be a big plus, not only for the town, but for all of us. And we all live in Talbot County, regardless of where you have the borders. Done right, with a quality development that protects the integrity of our neighborhood, we would probably be some of your best customers. I know I would. Secondly, I think it speaks volumes that the proponent of the current plan has indicated evidently that they are most willing to accept a restriction on amplified outdoor music. That solves the problem for us. And Mr. Ford, I understand your point loud and clear about maintaining flexibility for future commercial ventures that come down there. It makes sense. But what also makes sense is protecting the integrity and the tranquility and peace of adjoining neighborhoods, because we are indeed adjoining neighborhoods. We're not an island. You can't pull down a curtain and shut the sound off. I don't care what the decibels are or whatever the time is. There's noise over there. You know, I know, we all know we're going to hear it. The louder, the more obnoxious it gets. So consequently, I think what Mr. Lonergan proposed, inserting into your agreement, which the proponents evidently have expressed a willingness to do, I think is an easy, simple solution for all of us and solves the problem. Now, you might say to me, well, what happens if next year or 2 years from now somebody else wants to come down there and maybe they don't agree with that? Maybe that Maybe that throws cold water or a cold blanket on their plans. Well, what's wrong with crossing that bridge when you get to it? To have an open-ended situation where we have to either monitor decibels or call the police. You know, would you want to do that next to your house? I don't think you would. So if we can solve this up front by a simple insertion of the phrase that Mr. Lonergan suggested, golly, folks, I think that's the way to do it. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Sorry, Ryan Showalter. I'm appearing on behalf of the annexation petitioners, really only to address noise, and I don't want to leave anyone with a misperception. I think what my clients in the past have said is that they're very comfortable complying with applicable laws. They don't have any plans to turn this into a band shell, an entertainment venue. They desire it to be a waterfront restaurant. But the phrase outdoor amplified music, I think, is ambiguous at best. And they do have intentions to have ambient music. Some people said tonight, you know, speakers outside directed to patrons that play music would not be objectionable. You know, the desire is to have music that you can still have a conversation over outside. That is outdoor music that is amplified from a speaker. So I have concerns about the phrase. I don't have any concerns with obligations to comply with current state law requirements. And I'll note for you that this is currently an industrial property. So right now, day and night, the sound limits under the state law are 75 decibels, 24 hours a day. When it changes to commercial, it will go from 75 to 67 during the day, 62 at night. We have no problems with those. And I've done research to look at different decibel measurements, and you can get online and look at all kinds of different references, and obviously they depend on the specific piece of equipment that might be used at any particular measurement. But a list of items that are 70 decibels, and this is a generalization, but 70 decibel noise readings are comparable to living room noise, typical radio and TV audio, a shower or dishwasher, a hair dryer, a washing machine. Some are obviously louder, some are obviously softer. 75 decibels I've seen listed as a toilet flushing or a vacuum cleaner running. So the decibel limits that are established by state law, we're very comfortable living within. I think the phrase outdoor amplified music is ambiguous and problematic, but that doesn't mean to suggest that we intend to have battles of the bands on a waterfront patio or deck every weekend. Thank you for your time.
All right, well, I'm going to end this public hearing tonight. I'm not going to close it, however. Basically for the same reason as I didn't close it the last time. We're still working on some particular issues in the annexation agreement, not dealing with sound, but with infrastructure costs and who bears the burden of those costs specifically. So this hearing will remain open at least until our next meeting. I would ask in advance, though, if you want to make comments at our next meeting, that we're going to be focusing on a annexation agreement document that will be made public prior to that, and I'd like the comments to be focused on that. I think the council has heard, and we will consider the concerns of everyone that has spoken to us about noise. So at our next hearing, again, we'll be focusing on this annexation agreement. And thank you for your comments tonight.